5 days. That's how long we're attempting to survive on one of the most dangerous islands on Earth, Komodo Island.
Hidden deep within the Indonesian archipelago, this island is the last stronghold of one of the most ruthless predators still walking the planet, the Komodo dragon.
And you can see what I mean when they go into that hunting state of mind. Oh, go.
You might want to go. You might want to climb it.
Yeah. He's just chased me up this tree right here.
A reptile with a venomous bite, capable of bringing down prey over 10 times its own size. Out here, they're the apex predator, and we're deep inside their territory.
I knew we were going to have some crazy experiences, but I did not think that was going to happen.
In this 4-part series, we're venturing further into the heart of the island than most people ever go, searching for Komodo dragons that may have never seen humans before.
Working alongside local trackers, we'll attempt something very few have ever done, to find the largest Komodo dragon on the entire planet. A giant that locals say is still out here somewhere. And for the next 5 days, we'll be sharing this place with it. Let's go.
So it's early morning, sun's just coming up at the moment. We're all getting the gear ready, jumping in the boat and heading over to the mainland, try and find some more big dragons. There should be some big ones walking the beach at this time of day, so I'll see if we can find one up around the 3-meter mark. Yeah. Can see that same dragon that we filmed just sitting up on this jetty up here, still sleeping at this time of day. Oh, we'll just chuck the boots on and go say good morning to this big dragon.
The amount that it just shot at.
Thank you. So just up here is the first dragon of the morning. His tail is right here in front of my face. How cool. So you can see this big fella sitting on this jetty down here. I was wondering why he would actually be sleeping on here, because I feel like he sleeps down on this jetty most nights. And since it's so hot over here on these islands, I feel like the gaps in this jetty might give him a bit of a nice breeze. He doesn't seem to be minding it whatsoever. It also puts him away from the feral pigs and other species that might be annoying him after dark. Not us though. So these Komodo dragons have what's kind of like a third eye on the top of their head, and what it does is it's basically a light sensor. So as soon as the sun comes up, it'll hit that third eye on the top of its head, which is what's happening to this dragon right now, and he's starting to wake up. And the reason why they actually have that sensor is so their bodies don't overheat in the sun. It gets really hot out here really quick, and he doesn't actually want to be sitting out in the sun for too long, even though that for a lizard of their size and compared to most other reptiles, their endurance in hot climates are like none other. In this area of the island, they're said to be most active at this time of morning, and it looks like that's the case because he's actually starting to get up right now and walk down this jetty towards us. He's going to head up the beach and we're going to follow him.
Earlier in this series, we tracked down a massive Komodo dragon scavenging along this beach. It could even be the same dragon we found sleeping on the dock early this morning.
Across Komodo National Park, roughly 3,500 dragons live scattered across just 5 remote islands. But among the locals, stories circulate about something even bigger, a giant.
A dragon so large, they say it's the size of a small boat. According to recent sightings, this monster's been living deep within a remote stretch of mangroves on Komodo Island.
So we loaded up the boat and headed for these mangroves, hoping to track down the largest Komodo dragon on the planet.
Another beautiful day. We actually got woken up because we're heading through the roughest part of this chain of islands. As you might know, it's called Batu Tiga, and the reason why it's so rough is because there's so much water pushing through this one stretch, and it kind of gets pushed down into a little funnel, creating whirlpools and places that you can't actually access all the time. You have to time it right, because if you come here on the wrong tide, it's an easy way to sink the ships. Luckily, our captains know what they're doing.
In Indonesia, the name Batu Tiga translates to 3 rocks. It was given this name because in the narrow channel between Padar and Komodo Island, 3 large rocks rise prominently from the sea.
It's also a well-known dive site, though it's one of the least visited in Komodo National Park because it's extremely dangerous.
The currents here are notoriously unpredictable, surging in from multiple directions at once. Often the risks of diving here far outweigh the potential rewards.
The channel is also a busy passage for both tourist boats and local fishing vessels traveling through the national park.
At times, powerful whirlpools form at the surface, and if a boat drifts into one of these swirling currents, the bow can tilt towards the center, and accidents are not uncommon. In fact, 2 years ago, Santi visited Komodo with some friends on a boat, and just a few weeks after his trip, that very same boat sank in this exact area near Batu Tiga.
For this reason, night navigation in Komodo National Park has recently become strictly prohibited, and authorities have begun enforcing safety regulations throughout the park.
But yeah, pretty beautiful place to start the day. We're heading to a place at the moment where we're going to try to swim with some big manta rays, one of the most beautiful species and incredible species that we found last time that we were here. It was my first time seeing them, so hopefully we can find a few today.
Not only are the islands of Komodo National Park filled with life above the surface, but beneath the waves lies another world entirely. The surrounding reefs are home to some of the most spectacular dive sites on the planet, thriving ecosystems where currents carry nutrients and life gathers in extraordinary abundance.
Unfortunately for us, our friend Santi has spent years exploring these waters. He runs a local dive operation called Mako Dive in Komodo, based in the small harbour town of Labuan Bajo, the gateway to this remarkable marine wilderness. Our main goal on this dive was simple: to find manta rays.
And it didn't take long. Within the first 10 minutes of descending onto this shallow reef, several dark silhouettes began to emerge from the blue.
Manta rays are the largest rays on Earth and among the most intelligent. Their brains are the biggest of any fish relative to body size, and they exhibit complex behaviors that scientists are only beginning to understand. Each manta ray also carries a unique pattern of spots on its underside. Much like human fingerprints, these markings allow researchers to identify and track individuals over many years.
There are 2 main species. These reef mantas, commonly found around coastal reefs like these, and the giant oceanic manta, a true pelagic wanderer of the open sea. The largest manta ray ever recorded was caught in 1920 and had an astonishing wingspan of around 30 feet, more than 9 meters from tip to tip.
Yet despite encounters like this, the ocean remains largely a mystery. Less than 5% of the world's oceans have been directly explored by humans. More than 80% of the underwater world remains unmapped, unseen, and unknown.
Somewhere out there in the vast blue wilderness, there may be giants we've never even imagined, slowly drifting through a world we've barely begun to understand.
If you want to explore this incredible archipelago beneath the surface, be sure to check out Mako Dive in Komodo for a truly once-in-a-lifetime experience.
So we've just started a hike up to the top of this little mountain here on Padar. Beautiful views up the top, but the reason why we came to this bay in particular is because around this area at night is the place that has the most of these blue and green and sometimes even yellow vipers. There's lots of deer as well. But yeah, it's pretty cool to think that by the time we get up to the top of this walk, we would have walked past multiple venomous snakes sitting on the side of this track. Beautiful views up the top as well.
We're just walking up to the first lookout now.
See our boat parked down the bottom there? And this is where we're going to be parking up for the night. There's less dragons that live on this island. I think there's about 30 individuals that they've recorded actually living here.
This island is known for its vipers, but not for its komodos, which is really interesting.
The other islands like Rincha and Komodo, which house more of these lizards, there's no stopping one from swimming from one of those islands to here. Let's keep walking. All this area is perfect for the vipers. Like there's definitely snakes sitting in here.
And you've seen them here before?
Yeah, once before. 100% success rate of this climb. So we're here with our guide, Rinus, for this trip. You've done lots of exploring around this archipelago, and you are actually a naturalist guide here on Padar Island. And what sort of animals are living here with us? Because there are Komodos on this island as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Very small population.
They have small population because they have a small number of food also.
So that's why there's less Komodos on this island, because there's less food. And later on tonight, we're going to be heading just down there to try and find the viper.
Yes, down in the small valley.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It's actually incredible. She laughed a lot.
It'd be a beautiful last shot. So we're packing up all of our stuff now. We are gonna head out for a night walk pretty soon here. And we're going to be looking for the green and blue Insularis vipers, potentially even the yellow if we're super lucky, but they're very, very rare.
Are you going to pick one up?
No, definitely not.
With the stick?
Oh, with the stick? Yeah. Let's go.
So we're just heading into the beach at the moment to hopefully find some of the most beautifully colored snakes on Earth. Vipers that are endemic to these islands, and hopefully we'll be able to track down 2 of the 3 phases tonight and save the last phase for when we're back on the mainland in Flores. See how we go. What do you think, Santi? Gonna find blue one tonight?
I think we are gonna be lucky.
Yeah?
Yes, definitely, yes.
In the rice fields and forests of Southeast Asia lives one of the most feared snakes on Earth, the Russell's viper. Found across countries like India and Indonesia, this thick-bodied ambush predator is responsible for thousands of bites every year. Its venom destroys blood and tissue, and without rapid treatment, the results can be deadly.
Snakebites are a massive but often overlooked global problem. According to the World Health Organization, around 5 million people are bitten by snakes every year, leading to 81,000 to 138,000 deaths worldwide. And many of these deaths happen in rural areas where people work in fields and live far from hospitals or life-saving antivenom.
Yet thousands of kilometers away, another country tells a very different story. Australia, where I'm from, is home to 9 of the top 10 most venomous snakes on Earth, including the inland taipan and the eastern brown snake, both far more venomous than the Russell's viper. And yet, across all of Australia, only 1 to 2 people die from snake bites each year on average. The difference isn't the snakes, it's access to hospitals, antivenom, and rapid medical care.
So what we're doing is we're walking through the perfect habitat that these vipers should be sitting on at this time of night. They would have been sitting in little shrubs throughout the day, but at this time they'll actually come down and position themselves just off the floor, facing down at the floor, waiting for something like a little gecko to run underneath. And what we're going to be doing is shining this torch around this little grassland.
And as always, we're gonna have a competition for who can find the most snakes.
Let's go. Oh, green viper. So we've just found the first snake of the night, and this right here is the most common snake that we're no doubt going to find a lot of tonight. All right, so this is the green Insularis viper. Now I'm just being very careful because being a viper like this, they have heat sensing pits, so he can sense me right now. It's been about 2 minutes and we've already found the first snake, and it is a beautiful little species.
I got a blue one.
You got a blue viper?
Yeah.
Did you actually? Bring it over here. No way.
Oh, he is.
Oh my God. They're about the exact same size as well. Look at those snakes. It's been literally 3 minutes that we've been out here on this island, and we've already got both phases sitting in our hands right now.
I have a feeling there's more out here as well.
Yeah, well, now I think the challenge is to see how many we can find tonight. So amazing as well that they're only found on a few islands around this area. These green ones are very common, spread across Indonesia, but this blue phase is much more rare.
Do I get extra points? I have the more rare snake.
I think so. It's a very good looking individual as well. Look at the colors on it.
So beautiful.
Okay. Oh, look at that. You got it? So compared to the other viper that we've been looking for on this trip, the Russell's viper, the venom from these species is relatively insignificant. You do not want to get bitten by a Russell's viper out here. If we were to get bitten by this snake, most of the time, unless you have an allergic reaction, it's not going to be life or death, although it is going to be painful.
He's turned to me because he can sense, probably through those heat sensing pits, can sense my breath. So cool. Most likely right now he'd be looking out for one of those little geckos running around, and we'll let him get back to his hunt. We'll let him go.
Right, so what we've just come across here is a Komodo dragon kill. Now, it actually bit this deer roughly a month ago and waited for the deer to bleed out, and you can see what's left of it. The Komodos ate most of it, all of the legs are missing. I'm actually surprised that there's this much of the deer left because they can polish off a whole buffalo between a few dragons within a few days. But just a reminder that even while we're looking for these snakes and focusing our attention on them, that we have to be extremely careful because these deer are much faster than the Komodos, but I mean, it's still managed to bite this one, and that's all that it takes. Oh, so that's a scorpion.
And it glows under UV light. Yes! I got another one. This time a green one. Same striking position. They're all out right now. Full moon, and they're hunting.
So cool to be looking for these snakes on a full moon.
It's incredible. We have good visibility, so much activity. You know, the waves just crashing on the beach.
When you actually first put the torch on this one, for a second there I thought it was a yellow one.
Really?
Yeah. So I've been walking through the bush for another 5 minutes, and look at that right there. That is a massive green viper, the biggest one of the night so far, and they don't get too much bigger than this. He's loaded up in that S position. We're gonna quickly pick him up. You're okay. All right, so we're just gonna pick her up and take a look at this big viper. Wow. What a beautiful snake. And it's crazy to think that out here, there's blue ones this big as well, and yellow snakes that could be up to this size. Being very careful. Once you get into that striking zone with a viper, there's no chance of getting your hand out of the way in time. And one of this size would have a very big venom yield. What I've learned about these vipers is when handling them, they want to have their tail supported, because even if you see them sitting in the grass tonight, a lot of the time that tail will be wrapped around either a little stick or a little shrub in the bush. But yeah, this competition that we're having, this viper finding competition, we're currently all locked up at 2 all. Juliet thinks that blues count for 2, and I think that this one being twice the size counts for 2 as well.
Okay, so fine, let's just call it even.
But beautiful snake to be handling. I think the goal for the next one is to find a blue one around this size, because they can get this big.
All right, have a good night, buddy.
Just sneaking up on yet another snake. This one is not a viper, but a bronzeback. All right, we got him. I think I've handled about 20 bronzeback in my life, and I might have been bitten 40 times. They seem to like me very much. Good job, cool little fella.
He's really cool. And you said he is non-venomous, or he has venom?
Apparently they have venom, but it doesn't work on humans.
Wow.
If it was to bite a spitting cobra, that spitting cobra would die.
The bronzeback reminds me a lot of the green tree snake back in Australia. It has similar blue spots on its back. And it's not like a blue ring octopus where it is kind of showing you the spots. It's just moving its scales to the side, which are already blue underneath.
Let's get him back out there.
Yep, let's put him back in the tree. So I did it.
You found another one?
Another one.
You, Julia?
Yeah.
You're winning now, eh?
Looks like I've taken the lead. How do
For
you
now. I've trained you well. Just here, look how this one's sitting. So cool, look at that. So many green vipers tonight and only one blue one so far. You can see how much more common these ones are. And yet again, we're all tied up.
You caught it fast.
Yeah.
It only took about 30 seconds.
All right, and we just concluded our night walk. We're about to head back onto the boat, and I lost count about how many vipers we found, but I'm pretty sure that I won.
I unfortunately agree. I think that last one, I lost count. We saw a lot of snakes tonight, but I'm pretty sure you won with that last one.
I think you probably found the coolest snake though, with the blue viper.
The blue is my favorite of the
First
night. So beautiful.
So crazy that these snakes are just scattered all over the floor out here.
I think we could stay up all night and just keep finding different snakes and different species as well, but it is getting pretty late.
And we've got a big day ahead of us tomorrow, filled with hopefully some more Komodo dragons and cool creatures.
Good night.
Good night. All right. So this is another dragon that we found further up from the beach and into this little mangrove area. The amazing thing about these islands is they're so big, and scattered all the way through it are big dragons that are using different methods to hunt their food. And this big fella, being up over 2 meters long in this area, I think most of the food that he would be eating, he'd actually be scavenging from around this beach. But just looking at some of the tracks that are in this little mangrove system right here, things like deer, feral pigs, even some of those civet cats that we were finding the other night, and they're all on the menu for a dragon this size. There wouldn't be anything that he'd turn down on this island.
And he uses those sensory glands to pick up the scent on these tracks, is that right?
Yeah, so what he's doing is these animals and most reptiles have forked tongues, and what they've got inside their mouths is something called a Jacobson's organ. And we just got to be careful because this ground
It's very slippery.
very slippery. And what he'll do is he'll flick out that forked tongue, put it back in his mouth, and hit something called a Jacobson's organ, and that'll tell him which direction to go, where he might be able to find food. And they're very good at smelling food. He can actually smell carrion in the air from miles away.
He would have known that we were here, you think, while we were...
Yeah, definitely. Really good sized lizard. It's amazing to come out here. It's a whole different world. Coming to these 5 islands which hold these dragons, and to see them thriving at this size, very healthy individual. Nice. So there's been no shortage of dragons that we've found on this trip, and they've all been up around this size as well. We've seen a few smaller individuals. Watch out.
Yeah.
But I think finding one in this sort of terrain has made me the most nervous, just because I've seen how quick they can move when it comes to taking down prey.
There's not much traction out here.
Yeah, there's not much traction at all, and I'm looking out for you as well. We did a foot race and I'm probably twice as fast as you.
Generous. So this is another big male, and it's been a lot harder to find female dragons out here.
Yeah, so out of the 3,000 to 5,000 Komodos that are on these islands, the last Komodos in the world surviving here, for every 1 female that you find out here, there's 2 to 3 males. So it's a lot easier to find these ones. And we've been lucky enough to see some big individuals throughout the past few days that we've been here. Oh, he's looking at us. So the amazing thing about the female dragons is through a process called parthenogenesis, they can actually breed by themselves. So if they were on an isolated island or in an area where there's no other males, when he gives us that look,
That look is what
terrifying.
freaks me out.
They can actually breed by themselves. But the thing about all of their offspring, all of the eggs that they will lay, is all of those baby dragons will hatch out as males. So in order to keep the species going, they'll need to be breeding with each other out in the wild. But it's pretty crazy to think that if you had a female dragon from an egg,
She would continue laying eggs.
but just walking on these mud flats with this dragon, be careful.
Okay.
Got to be real careful. Boots are starting to fill up with mud. It's getting real slippery and real dangerous, especially knowing some of the other encounters that I've had with these dragons. They can turn in an instant. You were saying that just looking at them, they look relatively innocent.
But you can also see how they've definitely earned their spot as apex predators.
Hopefully later in this trip, we'll get to see them in that hunting state of mind. And I'm telling you, something switches in their eyes. I've filmed them eating before and they look so crazy. Oh, go, 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 go,
You
go.
might want to go. You might want to climb it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, keep going.
He's just chased me up this tree right here. Yeah, I'm currently just hanging off the end, getting ready to jump down if he comes up any further. But this is a big male dragon. One of the biggest that we've seen over here on Komodo Island. All right.
It's okay, I think it's kind of climb more.
All right. Well, that was interesting. I'm shaking right now. Mate. I knew we were going to have some crazy experiences over here on these islands, but I did not think that that was going to happen. I think he was just teaching me a bit of a lesson. He's obviously out here in the mangroves looking for food. He locked onto me. They switched super quickly, but I feel like if he was actually trying to kill me and hunt me, he would have sat under that tree for a while and waited for me to come down. In previous attacks that I've heard about on this island, that's been the case. I told you to run the other way. And instead of going into the thick bush, there's lots of trees over there, I went up one and he actually chased me up there.
Got pretty far up too.
Yeah, but that little scratch right there is the worst of it. Not from a Komodo, but from me climbing the tree, so I'm happy about that. You do not want a Komodo that big hanging off your foot.
All right, let's keep going and watch our backs.
Keep going.
In parts 3 and 4 of this series, we trek even deeper into the uncharted territory of Komodo Island. We explore one of the only villages on Earth where people live side by side with these living dinosaurs, and we interview a woman who was attacked by a massive dragon in the safety of her own home.
We also dive alongside sharks and manta rays on the shallow reefs and come face to face with the biggest Komodo dragons of this entire trip. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you leave a like, drop a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. We'll see